James, why'd you have me take my shoe off?
Because you have such lovely socks, you need to share it with all the world to see.
I do. I don't know if you can see, but they're really cute. They've got monkeys and bananas on them.
Two of my favorite things.
Welcome to the 50 Shades of Pain show. I'm Dr. Donish, Medical Director of Wellward here in Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. James Escaloni. The 50 Shades of Pain show is a show where we empower our community by demystifying pain, both physical and emotional, and give you the tools that you need for optimal health. So today we are talking about rib sprains, which are surprisingly more common than you think. When I was training, I was always told that ribs and chest, thoracic space, bulletproof. In fact, so much so that most insurers won't even cover very common, very typical treatments for thoracic and rib pain that really is commonly experienced. I had a rib sprain once, and it was excruciating. Like, I had a hard time breathing. It felt like there was a knife just stuck in my back, and my rib was like dislodged with it.
He was a bear to be around because he couldn't sleep either. You'd see him the next day, just now, oh, it was one of those nights, huh?
I was cranky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna try to make sure that you guys at home don't suffer through the same thing as this guy did.
Gotta get these ribs strong.
Yeah. So number one thing before any sort of exercises that you're doing, just warm up. That's just a great rule. Like if you're going with your friends and maybe you're a little bit late to a run or something, just warm up. Mm-hmm. Say, I'll catch up, right?
When we were kids, I remember PE, we would always do warm-ups and cool-downs. And as a kid, you're like, this does nothing for me. But now, as an adult, I get it, because when you're a kid, you're practically made of rubber, so it really doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but it, in effect, doesn't really matter if you warm up or cool down. But as an adult, we lose elasticity to our ligaments, our tendons, and they become more brittle and easy to break and tear. So doing warm-ups and cool-downs is an important way to get the blood circulation going into those areas, move those tendons and fibers, those connective tissue in between those fibers needs to get lubricated, and you've got hyaluronic acid that lubricates throughout the body, but it can all get kind of dried up and not present in the areas that you need it. So warming up is really important to prevent injuries. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to learn some warm-ups for your ribs.
Yeah, and not only that, if you are feeling good with your ribs, but you've had rib injuries and you're thinking, you know what, I just don't want this to happen again, you could incorporate just one of these exercises once or twice a week into your routine, and it can help prevent your rib sprain from happening again. And how you can know which one to do is you got to try them all, and whichever one's the hardest and you feel stretches the most, that's your winner.
Or if you just need some motivation, start with the easier one and work your way up to those harder ones.
We obviously have some different philosophies, but either way, we'll get you there. All right, so let's do this first one together, okay? So you start off. I'm going to instruct Dr. Donish here. As you can see, he's in this wonderful half kneeling position. I'm currently in a full kneeling position. In case you hear me reference that, this is half kneeling. He has his left leg forward, right leg is down. I want to have this knee outwards just a little bit more. Good. This is going to help him so that he has a rectangle from here to here to here. His head is over his shoulders, tucked back a little bit, shoulders over his hips, ribs nice and tight, okay? And he's got his hips over his knees. This is locking things down, and a good thing for your SI joint too to help that. We'll have a show on that later. Now for all of this,
SI joint being the pelvic spine joint, right down in this area.
Not up here, down here. So the next part for this is doing a basic range of motion. So go ahead and switch knees for me, please. That's bad if his joints sound like that. So he's going to start off by assessing to see how can these ribs down here move. And you do this by crossing your arms, okay? You don't let anything here move. So this is locked in tight. and he's going to slowly rotate his chest and sternum to the right. Now he's going to go about 100% of the way and then back off 10%, right to a spot where he feels he can deeply breathe through his nose. He should feel the ribs on the sides, not his shoulders coming up and down. As he goes to that position, then backs off. Good. And he's going to go there again, and it should be a little bit easier to go a few bits further. Every single time you're taking a deep breath, you're stretching the ribs from the inside out in that position, allowing you to go further.
You can hear me breathing.
Yes. It's a good thing because I like to work with living people, not zombies. Now for him, the next part we got to do is we got to check out his upper ribs. Upper ribs, you go like this, okay? All of this stays the same. What's going to happen from here is by having your arms up, you're going to lock down these ribs a little bit further down, forcing these higher up ribs to go. These are the ones that you often hear if people had a car wreck and that seat belt was in that position and caught them. They'll have pain in the front and in the back. So from here, he's got all this nice tight stabilization, locking this over just a bit, perfect, nice and tight, and he slowly rotates to the right, just the same way. For you guys trying this at home, it'll feel a lot different. And just like I said before, if one of these is a little bit harder after you've experimented with them, that's the one you got to stick around with. All right, cool. That's exercise number 1. All right, cool. Exercise number 2. All right. We're going to do this on the hands and knees. Go ahead on your hands and knees right there. What we're going to be moving in this position is another way we can use our trunk to help stabilize this component of the body, lock it down so it's not moving, and try to force this upper part of our body to move. And you're going to use your arm to help rotate you. This is what I mean. He's going to have his right hand behind his head.
All right.
Good. Now, in this position, he is going to not let his pelvis move, and he's going to start to look up just a little bit, nod your head back, and rotate. Good. He's pushing from this downward arm to assist in the rotation. And then after he goes to this position, he goes about 100% of the way, then backs off 10%, then takes a deep breath through the nose, makes the ribs expand, and comes on down again. Good. And one more time for good luck. There you go. Head back a little bit more. There you go. Look up at the sky. Good. Extend the neck. Good. And back on down. Now, this is a great way that you can get all of this upper area, right where your shoulder blades are tight usually, and loosen them up a little bit further. And by having that deep breath, you're allowing it to stretch and relax better. All right? Doing this before any sort of other exercises is a great way to make sure this stays loose and can help you feel better and prevent that rib from getting sprained. Now we got the hard one. Okay.
Number 3.
Numero tres. So he's going to lie on his back for this one.
And this is why he had me take my shoe off. I'm not happy about this.
So this one is, technically it's called a kettlebell armbar. There's a lot of variations on this one, but just to get started on this one, here's how we're going to be doing this, okay? So if we're going to be starting, try to switch your head and your feet for me for this one.
That's right.
Yep. And he's demonstrating good sit-up ability while he's at it. All right. So what he's going to do is he is going to be having this leg straight, okay? This arm is going to be out to the side about 90 degrees, okay? This arm is going to come up and he's going to make a fist. All right. Now, at home, you're going to need a special piece of equipment for this. If you guys have it, good. If you guys don't have one of these at home that you can use.
And by one of these, he means Dr. Donish's shoe.
Yep. You can go and find it at Wellward, 101 North Eagle Creek. There's at least 2 generally there every day, except for sometimes weekends. All right, so what's going to happen in this one? This is a little bit intense.
You don't know that. I
getting
might
you to
come
move.
barefoot.
I haven't seen it. We're going to start by having whichever arm is up, holding onto the shoe. We're going to have his knee come up towards his elbow. Now, I'm going to explain this while his leg is in this very challenging position for my own benefit and enjoyment. Why the shoe? Well, if you're doing this with a weight, which is something you can progress to, the shoulder can be challenged and it gets put into a weird range of motion that if you try to muscle it there, instead of gracefully move there, you could injure your shoulder. I don't want that. And if you've got a nice balanced shoe, you're going to keep your eyes on it, and you're going to move smoothly. Because if you go too violently, well, that shoe is going to meet your face.
And I've got gum on the bottom of my shoe.
I saw that earlier. That could be a problem because we don't know where that gum has been. So next up, he's going to be taking this knee and slowly rotating it to the floor, and he's going to not let his eyes come off of that gum. All right, cool.
Woo.
Yep, now from here, he is going to start to turn further on towards his belly and straighten out his left leg. He's not going to let that eye come off of the shoe, and he's going to turn as far onto his belly as he can, keeping that shoe straight up in the air. There you go. If your arm gets in the way, it's okay for you to take your right arm and bring it a little bit higher up so that it's out of your way, so it's easier for you to get onto your belly. Right? He's going to go as far as he cares to go. He's going to hold it there for 2 breaths through his nose. Because when you breathe through your nose, you'll notice you breathe differently through your ribs as if you're taking a deep breath out of your mouth. Then he's going to bring his knee, slide it up towards his arm. Then he's going to bring his knee back towards me. Good. And then straighten this back out again. Okay. Now with this exercise right from here, it is pretty challenging, but if you learn how to do this with a shoe as opposed to a weight, you're going to learn how to keep everything moving through your trunk and your ribs. You're going to help create better stability through your rotator cuff. And this is something you can easily progress by having a small weight in your hand until you can actually use some pretty substantial weights to protect your shoulder over time. But this should be a graceful motion. This should not be some sort of muscly, heavy thing. Everybody who does this well, you just seem that they have less injuries to this area. So I highly recommend this one if you're a little more intensive athlete or want to get there. All right. So those are the awesome rib sprain prevention exercises for you, my friends. Any parting words from Dr. Donish?
They feel good. I mean, my chest is expanding better. I can breathe better too. There's a really cool study that just came out where just simply doing breathing exercises and working your ribs can lower your blood pressure as much as blood pressure medications do.
So there you go. Prevention of rib sprains and heart attacks at the same time. You are welcome, Wellward Warriors. All right. So from all of us here over at Wellward Medical, I'm Dr. Escaloni.
And I'm Dr. Donish, and we wish you growth and joy on your Wellward way.
Cool.
Yep.
I need to do those more. Maybe I wouldn't have sprained my rib.